Well, as you can see, I'm in the process of deconstructing the original base. I will show you what this looks like at the end, but just for posterity and because I thought it would be fun, I decided that I was tired of shuttling the remaining materials back to the Megabase, and I'm just going to blow the rest of this stuff up. Oh, I better stop repairing this. It's a very fast way to get rid of a lot of stuff. All right, there you have it. I'm gonna finish packing up the rest of the stuff. We're burning the bridges as we go, leave nothing behind for the biters. All right, welcome back. To what I'll now consider to be the official start of episode 28 of our Factorio series on building a cellular megabase. I have completely deconstructed the original base. We are purely independent on the megabase here, and that was actually quite a logistical problem. I tried to recycle as much stuff as possible and ferry it down to the cells that could make use of it. But I eventually got tired of waiting for that, and as you saw, I just like blew the last set of stuff up with grenades. So that was kind of fun. So what's next? I think we're at the point where we just pretty much need to scale things up here. So I think what I'm going to do is just so you get an idea of what we're scaling. You may have been noticing that I've put these little tags on each of the cells. So I think we're going to do just sort of like a quick video montage of the cells as they are getting stamped out. If anything interesting happens in the meantime, then I will certainly pop in and we'll have a little commentary. But otherwise, let's just see how far this goes. Okay, quick interlude here. This is our second science cell, which is up and largely running. But I decided that I needed to, so one of the things that was happening was, first off, I had forgotten to update the blueprint to put the requests for the beacons and speed modules on the builder train, which is fortunate because they would have been loaded on here. And that's because we don't have enough beacons on the builder train, which means that not all the modules can go in at first. In general, I think it's faster to build beacons here, so if we're not going to have room for something on the train, I'd probably rather have beacons because I'd rather produce the tier 3 modules here where we're already beaconized and up and running. So what I did a couple of things. One was, let's see, where's the beacon production? Here it is. So this is already set up to produce up to 10, which is fine. And then, let's see, I came up here, if you remember, and I modified this to say, hey, we have to have it more than one beacon in storage. in order for us to do science. So this was greater than 0, having 1, but I think we want it to be greater than 1. We can stack up, multiple in that passive provider chest that's output from the beacons, and this should give us enough time for the construction bot to grab it if we still need beacons. Then what I did was I put decider combinators here to basically only set the request for beacons and the tier 3 modules on these buffer chests only if we're doing science. And so that should mean that we're not loading anything on any of the modules or beacons onto the train and not requesting any into these buffer chests until we actually are done with construction. So let's see how that worked out. I'm going to update the blueprint in the background. Okay, here's a fun one I just discovered. We got a problem with the signaling down here. So the intent here is we read this rail signal, and the idea is that if we see a red signal here, meaning there's a train here at this block waiting at the ready to go, then we say, hey, we've got an artillery builder train ready, and we're putting that out onto the network. Unfortunately, what that means is that we're also chaining that into here. So the idea is that if I don't see a builder train ready, then you can have a builder train in here. Meaning, like, the idea is, like, if we don't have one here, we can accept one here. Except because we connected a green wire here, it's leaking all the other builder trains onto this guy, right? So if you look over here on the right, we're getting 12 builder trains in here. And so that means that that we're not allowing this to have a limit. So even though this one's correct, it's been preventing other ones from accepting a builder train even when there's nobody here. And so that's been sort of wreaking a little bit of havoc with backing up some of what we've got here. So the idea is we have to disconnect this with the green wire and then do a red wire to prevent it from leaking. Otherwise, that doesn't quite work. It should be working. All right, we're putting as L of 0. Oh, set train limit. L, there we go, 0. Okay, so we have to go fix the blueprints, and unfortunately, because we need to remove a green wire here, we have to go do it by hand. So that's going to be not super fun, but we'll run around. It won't take us really that long to fix. And I'll update the blueprints, of course. But otherwise, status-wise, just where we're seeing, we have built up our 5th nuclear reactor cell, getting ready to stand up the 4th science cell over here. Gradually expanding things down into this area to get access to some of these big resource patches down here, hopefully, maybe that one at some point, but just kind of pushing our way out to where larger resource patches are. Otherwise, I've been watching the old brain cell here. I think these represent artillery cells that are all backed up in some way with the builder train confusion that we just saw, because when we get 2 builder trains into an artillery station, basically we end up with one here and then one stuck over here, and it blocks the resource trains from coming in. So while we go around and fix all that, that should hopefully unblock our stuff, and we'll see where we're at. Also a little curious why we didn't successfully build this all the way, but we'll go address that too. Incidentally, this is one of the convenient things about numbering all of the cells this way, is that, for example, I know I have to visit all of the artillery cells, and so just having them numbered helps me make sure that I can visit them all. So that's a nice little convenient thing that I hadn't really planned for, but now is turning out to be very crucial. So just thought that would add that little commentary there. Okay, one of the other things that I'm running into here is that occasionally, I guess these are probably expansion parties of biters sort of wander around through what's going on in here and wreak havoc on some of those stuff. I think these guys are coming up through here, so I probably need to go plunk an artillery cell down at this place to help block the rest of the entrance in here. But in the meantime, I have these existing Spyrotrons, which used to have rocket launchers. They now have personal laser defenses on them, because I found that using these with rockets did more damage than the biters were doing. So the lasers are a little more friendly to existing cells. And we don't, the rockets are useful if we're clearing biter bases, but we're relying on the artillery cells to do that for us. So let's see, we're getting close. I guess we can watch these guys come in and save the day over here. It's kind of interesting. We have enough repair bots that we come in and try to repair stuff. You can see how much splash damage these behemoth spitters do. It's really pretty wild. Okay, here comes the cavalry. And so, yep, they just kind of come through and clear that stuff out. There we go. Okay, quick checkpoint. We're in the middle of building the 6th science cell, and that is using our last available builder train. So we are absolutely bottlenecked on expanding the science capacity of the base, really by our ability to produce the tier 3 modules. And so I think this is an area where the cell-based concept is going to ultimately pay off for us a little bit, because we at least have 6 science cells that are actively working to make the tier 3 modules, and so that will help us with the future scaling. Another just quick look at the UPS updates per second. We're down around 45. We're definitely starting to hurt a little bit, particularly during construction. So I don't know how far we'll be able to scale things out, but I am pretty happy with the way things have been going. I've been watching the resource graph up here and topping things up as we kind of need them. Looks like copper might be one of the ones that we need next. So we will, in between, and especially while we're waiting for nuclear cells to finish coming online, or science cells to finish preparing builder trains, we can definitely go ahead and tap some additional resources and continue pushing out with the artillery cells in order to get access to more and bigger resource patches. So otherwise, everything is kind of going according to plan, and we're just kind of waiting around for the scaling to finish happening. All right, I left things running overnight unattended, and as you can see, we've got several small brush fires started at various places. Generally speaking, we're still generally okay, so I think, you know, most of the cells have repair bots in them, and so that helps us fend things off, but I'm gonna have to go set these up here and take care of them. Okay, a couple things that I noticed while I was cleaning up there. One was that I realized our science cells did not have a production of repair packs, so I need to run around and add those. And then the other thing is that you know, we have some circuitry for adding logistics bots if we need them, but we don't have the same thing for construction bots. So I just made a requester chest for one construction bot and then said if I have less than 50 in most of the cells, then go ahead and stick some more in. So that should help with the self-repair. And I'm going to go update those and update the blueprints, and then we'll probably take account of the trains. So yeah, these should all be, the resource trains should all have a count that's divisible by 3. So we lost our water train somewhere, and maybe all the rest look okay, because they're all multiples of 3. So we got to figure out where the stranded water train is and get that thing back and operational. So, but otherwise, you know, not too bad. A little bit of cleanup, just run around with killing off. It's just a few, probably little expansion groups trying to wander through the base, and so that's unfortunately the annoying thing about we have no proper walls. Although, and so I'm considering just ringing the whole base with sort of a solid wall of artillery. But I need to wait until we've got ourselves as scaled up as I think we need to be before we really do that. So on with the scaling. All right, I got tired of the whole, you know, random biters creeping into the middle of stuff. So I decided I would do an aftermarket edition here and do a version of the herringbone that has mines laid out around the outside of the cell in this fashion. And I think I've done this in a way that does rotational symmetry. So there are bump outs for, and I put repair packs in mines in the production around the edges, and I believe I've left space for those to show up in and around. I guess I got some extra substations in here from when we were laying this out. But this way we can get mines around the outsides and hopefully just be able to attach it to kind of any cell and be able to then get at least a little, make it so that it can defend itself at least a little bit. So, you know, and we can try to orient things so that this stuff is sort of as far away from the entrance as possible, even though there are sort of mines around the outside. So I don't know. We'll see how well this works. Just a fun side note here. I did have to create a blueprint for a mine because mines are not actually grid aligned, which is an interesting thing. So I made a 1x1 grid that was aligned just so that I could sort of stamp them out in a sort of nice pattern here. So I'm going to go apply some of these and we'll see how well they work. Okay, that was many, many hours compressed and excerpted, but that's relatively what happened. I pretty much stamped out those blueprints, waited for the builder train to finish building, turned on the trains, and then I came back around and stamped out something else. This last time around, I waited after putting the 10th science cell down. I decided to wait for that to all catch up so we could see what is going on. Let's take a look at, here is the base as it exists at the moment. And, we've continued to push out around the outside with the artillery cells and getting some additional mining outposts going. I did end up putting the little aftermarket, as I called it, cellular mine brain, like a cellular membrane, I guess, but got the mines around the outside of them, particularly the ones that are out here sort of in the edges. And since I got that in place, then that has pretty much held the biters at bay, even while I let this run in the background. Let's take a look at science. Okay, let's look at the last hour. Let's filter to science. And we are getting a cool, well, $9.99, but we'll call it 1,000. There's 1,000. Well, that was convenient. So we are getting 1,000 science per minute. It's been running solid steady for the last hour. I believe the Reddit Factorio community considers that a Megabase at this point. So I think we have achieved our goal there. Let's take a look. However, we're down around in the 30s on updates per second. So things are running a little slowly. Now, this particular Megabase design was not really set up to be super UPS efficient. So it doesn't surprise me that we ran into some scaling bottlenecks. But the experience that I was looking for, which is that getting a set of blueprints where we can just keep stamping them out, as we've seen this episode, that pretty much worked. We did end up with, let's take a look at the trains. We did end up with, 5 oil cells, 4 water cells, 3 for coal, 8 each for iron and copper, 3 for stone, and just a single uranium mine. Indeed, once we've gotten to Covarex, there's very little uranium processing that needs to happen anymore. We are running off of 9 nuclear cells primarily. If we take a look at our electricity here, back over the last 10 hours or so, we're still getting some help from the solar panels. Actually, I would say a good, what is that, about a fifth still running off solar panels, and the rest is nuclear. That's been working out okay. Our science cells are sciencing away. Here's the last one, number 10. Indeed, you can see how long it takes to autosave here, but we are cruising right along, consuming 100 science per minute and producing 100 science per minute in each of the science cells. Let's take a look at the brain here. We do have, and this might look a little imbalanced, but you have to remember these are log scale meters here. And so, for example, let's take a look at even this one, which or even the coal one, right? Down at the right, there's a demand for 5 trains of coal, but we have a supply of 14. So we still have way more supply than demand for most of this stuff. So that is all working out well. As you saw while scaling up, we did occasionally run into a couple of alarms for, I think, oil and water and maybe copper. We have, if we wanted to, we actually have 10 builder trains for science ready. We could take this up to 2,000 science per minute just by stamping those out and waiting, but I think I'm not sure I'm into that. I'm not sure my computer can take it. So we're going to leave it there. So that is it. I think I'm going to declare a success here. This is where the base will end up here for us. We'll produce the final set of blueprints for anybody that's interested. But I really enjoyed the series. I definitely learned a lot and had fun figuring out various sort of automation problems. I'm pretty happy with where we landed on our train system overall. The herringbones have worked out well. There really is actually not very much train traffic at all. Like you can just see an occasional train running around here. Having the bigger trains, the 1/8 trains, means that they carry a lot more. And because we're only sending raw materials around, there's really just not many trains that are out and about at all. So we haven't really run into much congestion on any of the corners anyway. So that is okay. Once we applied the updated system for managing the demand, where we max out at most 1, and then we use the demands here to drive the station limits and activating the stations once we're ready for logistics spots, that has worked well. I've really had no issues with trains deadlocking or too many arriving or any of that stuff since we've done that. I guess there was some minor things where when I let this run overnight and I was AFK, then occasionally biters would come in and before I got the mines set up, they would come in and chomp on a train, and then I'd have to figure out where that was and go repair it. But otherwise, it has worked out pretty well. Another thing which we didn't really talk about was, but that which I like, was taking a look at the mining cells. This is where the trains come in. So we made, we had space on the source here, basically a stacker for 3 trains, and that's where we built the trains. And so we didn't build any trains on the demand side. And so what that meant is we didn't have to worry about really station deadlocks or anything like that. So any train that finished dropping off resources always had someplace to go. Even if it meant, I just ended up going back and like parking at this one. So this mine is pretty much depleted. This is a partially full train. I guess we're missing some probably back down here in the end. Yep. And so this one never ran, but that's okay because the other trains just sort of parked there. So I kind of like that. Nice to not worry about train deadlocking and just sort of we always have plenty of trains. We never sort of were short on trains for supplying the base. And that's because every time we tapped a new resource patch, we added 3 trains really pretty much just for that patch to source from. And that was certainly plenty. What else? Artillery cell worked out to be pretty fun. I was surprised that how many construction bots died while we were in the middle of sort of sending things out. But now things are working very well. If we just have regular expansion attacks or pollution attacks, we are fending those off nearly without any damage at this point. So that is working great. And I guess that's it. We've got some artillery over in the corner. Just keeping the area clear. All right, here was an expansion that just showed up probably. And so we're keeping those clear. But yeah, having the random little biters wandering around in the middle, that was a little annoying. And so getting the mines set up around the outside, that has worked out. That has worked like a charm. And I've definitely seen some biters. I wonder if we can see some evidence of this. If I recall correctly, you can see I spammed some extra mines in this corner here because we had some in here. And actually, even if they managed to sneak through the corner here, which they did in this case, because this cell had sort of the mine stuff around it, I could just like spam the mines underneath where the biters were, and they could, without having to send Spidertrons over to go deal with them. So that's it. That's the cellular megabase. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I definitely had fun designing it. And although I think I'm ready for something else, I have some ideas for what we might do next here on the channel. But if you've made it through this far, I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. You certainly have taught me various things through your comments and things like that. So I appreciate all of the views and support and comments. And that's all we got for today. So as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And until then, bye.